Mind will flip a little bit, as Andrea Stella alluded to after the race, that he now that it's not close, he's got the kind of freedom to go for it, and maybe we'll see him improve because of that.
Callum, actually, going back to let's go back to 2021 if you want, and the way that it was kind of ebbing and flowing between Max and Lewis. I mean, Max is one of those characters. It doesn't seem like anything phases him, and a different kind of character to Lando, as we know, who kind of wears his heart on his sleeve, and sometimes, he's talked himself down in the past. But you thought with 3 wins in the last four coming into Holland that he might have arrested, that kind of, that mindset, got on top of all of his issues. Do you believe that? I mean, the freedom now that he might have, is there a pressure off? What did you say to Max, or what did the bosses say to Max, or did they need to say anything?
I mean, look, the first thing I think with that 2021 season, nobody needed to say anything. Everybody knew what the stakes were from pretty much race two. We knew where we were at, and we knew what was gonna sort of transpire. With Lando, I think it's one of those things, and I know that there's been plenty in the past sort of spoken about Lando wearing his heart on his sleeve, and sort of, and a lot of people have alluded it to being sort of some sort of weakness, and I've never sort of seen it that way. I think actually that kind of self-awareness can be such a huge strength, provided you know how to deal with that emotional management, and I think, this will be a test of Lando now. It will be about, emotional management and just sort of, like you say, digging deep. And like we talked about Lewis in 2014, going on to win those next races, that's exactly what he needs. I think obviously the big problem for that is it is also really hard to see Oscar making many mistakes. I think, Jacques, as you alluded to, drivers in general, they don't crash as much and we don't have failures and stuff. But when you look at where those points to settle that difference might come from, it's really hard to see that many of those points are going to come from Oscar Piastri mistakes. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest hurdle. For Lando, is sort of being able to deal with the fact that, yes, I'm sure that he can find something else in him to step his game up, but it's about what your teammate does, and it's really hard to see that sort of changing on Oscar's side.
We talked about it, didn't we, Jacques, in the build-up to that race, and how we were saying it's like a game of tennis. It's Wimbledon final. It is penalties in the World Cup. It is that kind of mano a mano, and now that it's not as tight as it was, will that free Lando up? We know he was quick all weekend until Q3, and then Oscar took control of it, as he so often does.
Well, he was quick too early, and he showed his game. He showed his hand. That wasn't very good poker playing the whole weekend, because then it just took that one quali lap, 12 hundredths of a second, and that changed. Ultimately, it wouldn't have, because he blew his engine, but it would, that 12 thousandth of a second meant the race win. So you have to be careful with that. The shift, the mind shift, will happen for both drivers, because we've seen so many drivers with a huge lead lose it all and lose the championship. That's happened year after year after year. It puts even Piastri in a different position, because it puts a new kind of pressure on his shoulders. Now he's in his mind is the tiniest of mistake and I lose this championship, and maybe he won't drive as serene as he has been for now. So pressure can be good. Lack of pressure can create a really negative spiral, and it's often risky to have a big lead. Unless you have a big lead and you know that there's no position, that's different. But he knows he has a position. He knows that Lando always bounces back.
It's amazing that one of these two is going to be life-changing. We've said that. Once you're a world champion, as you know, Jacques, you can walk into any room, can't you? You've got the red lanyard. So just to come back to you, I mean, that's the thing. Oscar's not going to give this one away from here, is he? How's the team respond? I mean, how are they going to be feeling about this? Just to come back to you on this one, because you could see Zach and Andrea kind of head in hands. Ultimately, again, and I'll come on to this in a moment, it wasn't a Mercedes issue. This was as we understand it, on the chassis side for the oil leak that cost Lando.
At 668-816-0400 extension 68050, available Monday through Friday during office hours, or by email at christina.munoz@debate.com.mx. All rights reserved. Copyright Impresses EL Debate Essay de CV 2025. Lewis Hamilton reveals passing of dog Roscoe as Max Verstappen gets bonus award. Racing News 365 review. Lewis Hamilton has confirmed his dog Roscoe has passed away after an illness. Hamilton communicated last week that Roscoe was in a coma after his heart stopped while being treated for pneumonia. Max Verstappen receives bonus award after Nordschleife GT3 debut victory. Max Verstappen received extra recognition following his performance alongside teammate Chris Lullum at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, with the Red Bull driver earning the Fahrer des Tages Driver of the Day award. Verstappen and Lullum, sharing the number 31 Emile Frey Racing Ferrari 296 GT3, entered last weekend's ninth round of the NLS Series, a GT series held solely at the Nordschleife. Kimi Antonelli sets fresh target after stern F1 criticism. Kimi Antonelli has outlined his goal to ensure his positive Azerbaijan Grand Prix performance was not a one-off. The Mercedes driver entered the Baku weekend under pressure after enduring a nightmare European leg of the campaign. Cadillac announced crucial hire of visionary ahead of debut F1 season. Cadillac has confirmed the signing of a major figure it has hailed as a visionary that it is confident will take the fledgling F1 team to the next level. Behind the scenes, Tyler Epp, who served as the president of the Miami Grand Prix since 2022, will lead Cadillac's commercial operations globally in the newly found role of global head of commercial strategy. How well do the F1 drivers know their car's parts? It's easy, right? We show Formula One's drivers a picture of a car part, and they say what they see. Find out who knows their beam wing from their end board and their actuator from their battery in this revealing video. Thank you for your interest in our content. However, all the content of this website, including but not limited to texts, logos, photographic content, audio or video, are reserved rights and property of Impresses EL Debate SADCV, protected by the federal copyright law according to its Article 17. How well do the F1 drivers know their car's parts? It's easy, right? We show Formula One's drivers a picture of a car part, and they say what they see. Find out who knows their beam wing from their end board and their actuator from their battery in this revealing video. Thank you for your interest in our content. However, all the content of this website, including but not limited to texts, logos, photographic content, audio or video, are reserved rights and property of Impresses EL Debate SADCV, protected by the federal copyright law according to its Article 17, 27, and other applicable. This content, being reserved rights, prohibits any type of distribution, publication, edition, or unauthorized sale, requiring special license for any of the actions mentioned above, including but not limited to. If you wish to acquire a license to lawfully reproduce the content owned by Impresses EL Debate SA